Om. 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 Sai Ram. Just to recollect what we were discussing last week, passages which we were reading, Swami is talking about everything originating from the Lord. And I think we spent a lot of time discussing, should we, treat anything in this world as bad or good? And, when it's divine, it's all sourced from the divine. I think that was the discussion. I think in the next few paragraphs also Swami is discussing the same concept. So I'll ask sisters to continue from where we left off. Saira.
Another point has to be noted here. Krishna said that even krodha, anger, and lobha, greed, which are opposed to dharma, are forms of expression of the divine. Therefore, why repeat it 1,000 times? All feelings, all forms, all things and beings are born out of the para, higher, and the apara, lower, nature of the self-same divine essence. But to have higher feelings and emotions, he must accustom himself to see my form in the higher feelings, higher forms, and higher beings. Still, you must not get away with the idea that only the higher is divine and the lower is not. That is not correct. The objective world, with all its sattvic, rajasic, tamasic things, reactions, impulses, all originate in God. This conviction can grow in you and get firmly fixed only by reasoning it out and getting its truth affirmed. The Lord himself declared, Arjuna, all this originated from me. All this exists in me. But I am not dependent on all this, remember. I am unattached to all this. Here, there are 2 points of view, the Jivi point of view and the Lord's point of view. The Jivi has a dual experience of good and bad. The Lord has no duality at all. When all is God, when God is the inner Atma in all, how can there be two, one good and another bad?
Thank you very much, sister. This is what we had discussed last week, I guess, at least the first paragraph. I think just to a small correction, I think Kalyani has updated based on our discussion that and the first line, krodha and lobha, which are opposed to dharma. I think that was a correction. Other than that, I don't have much to say. Swami is again continuing to talk about the same concept. Swami is saying, in God, everything is good. It's neither good nor bad. No duality. That's what the second paragraph speaks about. So I will stop here if anyone has something to say, Saira.
Saira, Uncle, I think last time when Auntie was reading the Telugu, the sentence where it says all feelings, all forms, all things and beings are born out of, in the English it says para and apara, but does it say, I thought when you were reading, maybe it just said one of the two.
Apara is, I think that's what, if I remember correctly. I'll ask Auntie to.
Sairam, the previous paragraph, I
yes,
think.
Auntie, sarva bhavamulu, sarva rupamulu.
Sarva vastuulu na apara prakriti valla sambhavinchinave.
Yeah, so that's a clarification Kalyan is asking.
He's asking.
Swami has mentioned only apara. The creation is all apara. I think which Swami has already stated earlier on also. So it's consistent with what Swami has already stated. So everything originated from the apara prakriti.
Okay.
But 1 minute.
Yes,
Arun.
yes.
Sarva bhavamalu, sarva rupamalu, sarva vastuvulu, na apara parakruti. Apara and para both he is saying.
Oh, I see. Apara,
Apara parakruti.
parakriti. Oh, I see.
I think it's only aparakruti.
Oh, I see. Apara.
Both, how can it be apara parakruti valla sambhavinchanave?
Yeah, I saw for some reason I thought it's apara prakriti.
But it is very, in Telugu, it's very clear, apara parakruti.
I know.
What Swami is saying here is both apara and parakruti valla everything is created. That's what it means here. Sarva bhavamalu, sarva rupamalu, sarva vastuvulu, na apara parakruti. Both apara and aparakriti and parakruti valla sambhavinchanave ani annadu.
I see.
Because in the previous sentence,
Yes.
ippati marokati gamaninchavalenu dharma viruddha kama krodha lobhamulu kudanu Bhagavantuni swarupalani Krishna Paramatma annadu. So that is are born out of the para and apara nature of self, same divine essence. The whole nature, the whole creation is both apara and para. That's what Swami is here. He means, isn't it?
Yes, Auntie. Yeah, so apara para kriti. Yeah, I think so. Kalyani, you stand. So I think
You're
both.
What was her question?
No, she asked whether Swami mentioned both apara and para, Auntie.
Yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah. In Telugu also he mentioned both.
He's mentioned both, Kalyani. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes,
Apara-
brother. Sorry, go ahead, Auntie. Sorry.
No. Just it. I wanted to read it.
Okay. Okay, Brother Dasan, you have something?
So, Saram, brother, so according to this paragraph, the first paragraph, so Swami is saying, even anger and greed, which are not opposed to dharma.
Which are opposed to.
Which are
Yeah.
opposed.
Yeah, even if we take it as a which are not opposed to dharma, is taken as a divine thing.
Yes.
Yeah, then same way, for God, he doesn't have any dual quality. For him, everything same. Only we are the ones separating good and bad, because everything's created or everything originated from the God. But for him, he doesn't see any difference because he is in everything, even your quality, even 3 qualities, because it all came through him. But we are the only one differentiating. If we take Arjuna in Mahabharata, he's killing. But for us, sometimes some people might think that is bad. But for the killing, is against to the dharma. But at this situation, is for good. So that's what Swami is explaining. When you are thinking like an instrument, what good and bad, if we don't differentiate and if we do for the good purpose, it's going to be good. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother, thanks.
Sairam, maybe you guys have discussed last week. Just if it doesn't take long, what is para nature and apara nature? Like a higher nature, higher prakriti and lower prakriti?
It's, these two concepts, actually, a few weeks ago, it was discussed.
Oh,
this
sorry. No
Um,
problem. I'll
is
check that.
Swami- Yeah, basically Swami says Swami is talking about his Swarupa and Swabhava. He says his Swarupa is Para Prakriti, his Swabhava is Apara Prakriti. So, and then Swami says Apara Prakriti means what is here, Para is that is which is beyond. So that's how I understand. So creation is all Apara Prakriti. Para Prakriti is the unmanifest Lord.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's what we discussed. I hope anyone else has something to add. This was we discussed a few weeks ago, actually. Because both are God, in different ways. One is manifested God, the other one is unmanifest. Para is unmanifest. Apara is manifest, that which we see, witness.
Oh, Sai Ramangal, just sometimes when Swami refers to Purusha and Prakriti, like, is it right to say that the Para is Purusha and Apara is Prakriti?
I think so, because Purusha itself is one manifest only, it is Purusha and Prakriti come into being. So, though, Prakriti is the active part, I think that's my understanding. I will ask others to comment. Now, it's good that you asked a question. Because when it's one, that is unmanifest. When it manifests, it has these Purusha and Prakriti concept. When it becomes two, so that my view is that is Apara. Even the concept of Purusha also. But I will ask others to share what they think. Anyone else?
So Kalyani is saying Purusha is Para and Prakriti is Apara.
Yeah, that's what she's asking.
She's asking.
Yes. And I think sister, I think because it's read the Para within brackets higher and Apara lower. I think that's why she was asking. Sister Shivani was asking that question.
And just to add to that, we usually say, I don't know why this word is coming, Para Shakti, Para Brahma. So this is the same thing. Like when we say, okay.
Supreme, there is, I think the concept of supreme is used. Para Brahman, Para Shakti. These are.
Brother, there's a one sentence that also we can discuss a little more. Divine is not in the higher feelings, it's on the lower feeling too. That's mean we have to understand there's a Parasakti, and in the whole world God is pervade. That's also same thing, right? So
okay, I will ask Auntie to read the Telugu just to some clarity. Which one you want me to read? Auntie, the next one.
Next paragraph, you mean? Yeah. No.
See, what they're asking us is Intamat. Okay. Manchiti Matramu Bhagavat Swarupa Lakshanama.
Tatimavaniyo Kadaniyo Talanchuta Tatta Gnanamu Kadu.
Yes. Swami is not talking about higher, lower sister. Swami is telling one should not think only good things are divine, and that which is not good is not so. Thinking like that, Swami is saying it is against the tattva. It is not the right.
So which is not good, brother. That is which is not good is divine. That's also we can. We have to
both.
So where good always we say divine, right? Where we say
bad is also divine.
Where so the Mahabharata poet that we are seeing as sometimes the killing is bad, but they are also divine. That's how we have to look at it. That's something happened negatively. that the way? So Parasakti comes in like a evil killing, those ones also comes under that.
I think these are things which Swami is clarifying, sister, in the next few paragraphs. And so what I think at this point in time, Swami is telling, don't think bad is not, there's no divine in the bad. If something bad you have witnessed, don't think that is nothing to do with God. Okay, it is not originated from divine. Don't think like that, Swami says.
In the objective world, whatever bad is happening or good is happening, it's only because of the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic feelings we have. That's because of the reason why bad also takes place.
Thank you.
Sairam.
Sai Satish, you had something to say?
Yeah.
Yes, Anna. So I was just going to say, like, it is like a drama. So in the drama, somebody also dons the role of a robber or a dacoit. But that role also has been given by the director only. And so in the overall scheme of things, how the drama happens, because it has been designed by the director, and in that case, God, whether it is good or bad, it is attributed by our feeling towards that role. But ultimately, it is that director has assigned, and if you go a little more deeply, it is that God who is playing that role as well in the purest form, if we have that understanding, the overall scheme of things. So it could be possibly looked at from that angle as well. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you very much. Sairam, brother Varadan.
Yeah. Sairam, but it's for the God's sense. God's for everything is equal. He doesn't have any good or bad. So that's the way he's saying that. So even like see that whenever we feel like no favor to anything or anybody, all the life, everything is equal. Whenever you think it that way, there is no good or bad. As Brother Sai Satish said, like the way of we thinking that is good, that is bad. But for the God view, nothing is bad. Sarah.
If I may, sorry.
Yes,
Go ahead.
go ahead, sister.
So just to adding to what Brother Sai Satish said, it's a drama, right? So everybody has given a role, right? At a higher level, yes, there is no distinction. So I'm thinking as a human being, not to see any situation, good or bad, just to see what is there for me to learn and move on. I mean, that's what I'm taking. If the drama from good or bad, just see what is there for me to learn and how it will help me to grow up to be a better person. So
Yeah, I think we should read the previous line also, because in the Telugu it's slightly different than what the translation gives. So I'll ask Auntie to read. Auntie, Kani Upasanaku.
Yeah. The Kani Upasanaku Uttama Bhavana Lerpaduta Kosam Mottamodatidi Uttama Bhavam Uttama Rupam Uttama Bhutamlo Na Swarupani Telipenu. Inta matramunake ka manchidi matramu Bhagavad Swarupa Lakshanamalanyo Tatimavaniyo Kadaniyo Talanchuta Tattvagnanamu Kadu.
Okay. So in the previous line, Swami is telling, for the purpose of doing sadhana, for worship, upasanaku, okay, for that, Swami is saying we should learn to appreciate divinity in uttama, things which are of a noble nature, like uttama bhavam, uttama rupam, uttama. So Swami is saying, for the purpose of doing sadhana, upasana, it is important that we should be able to see the divinity in all the things which are of a higher nature. But then Swami makes this clarification, but do not think that just because you do that for upasana purpose, don't think only good things are of divine, coming from the divine. Other things are also, Swami didn't say bad, other things also, whatever you may not consider good also, don't think they do not originate from the divine. It's not Swarupa Lakshanam. It's not a characteristic of the divine. Don't think so. That's so now, sister, I think, Shivani, please go ahead.
I was just sharing that at the practical level from all the question, we had, and how we said that good and bad, of course, how I was thinking is it's our own reaction, reflection, resound. What it's creator has created this creation. So everything is good. It's just good or bad, whichever way we see, what is a lesson for me to learn and, take it as a divine prasada and move on. So,
Thank you, sister.
Uncle, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Sorry, just a quick clarification. So where it says that only the higher is divine, it's actually Bhagavat Swarupa Lakshanam,
Yes.
which means characteristic of the divine.
Yes.
And then where it says that is not correct, the actual is Tattva Jnana. That is not Tattva Jnana.
Yes.
And can you also just read the next sentence in Telugu?
Yeah. Let me make it very clear, Kalyani. Inta matramunike manchidi matramu Bhagavat Swarupa Lakshanamaniyu Tatimavaniyu. The rest of them, it is not. Thinking like that is wrong. It's not Tattva Gnana. Trigunamula Valana, Rajasika, Tamasika, Satvika, Vastuvulu, Bhutamulu, Bhavamulu, Bhagavantani Udbhavinchinavani Stiramu Chesukonutaku, Vicharana, Prayatnamu Jarupavalanu. Itlo a Bhagavantude Swayamga Telipinu.
So
there are two things now. One is good and the other is bad. We get the doubt. All the bad, has it originated from God? That doubt everybody has. Because we think everything divine is very good. But what Swami is saying here is both good and bad have originated from him. But we should try to focus our attention on the higher divine. And of course, it's not correct also if you decry that lower level. The objective world is full of all good and bad things. This conviction can grow in you and get firmly fixed only by reasoning it out and getting its truth affirmed. Sairam.
So that translation is pretty good in the English?
Yeah, it's quite good, I think.
I don't think, Auntie, this conviction can grow in you and get firmly fixed only by reasoning it out and getting its truth affirmed. I didn't see.
Vicharana Prayatnamu Jarupavalanu. That is there.
Okay.
Vicharana Prayatnamu Jarupavalanu.
Okay, so.
Sairam, can you explain that way in a very detailed manner, that last sentence? This is Sakwanti.
Which one? The
conviction. This conviction can grow in you and get firmly fixed only by reasoning it out and getting it truth affirmed. Is this before you start your sadhana? Is that why Bhagawan is saying that?
See, Swami's, it's actually in Telugu, it's one sentence, Auntie Saku. What Swami is saying is that to understand that everything originated from the Lord. Okay, Bhagavantuni ande udbhavinchinavi.
Sthiramu chesukonutuku. To affirm it. To have that convincing feeling.
Have a steady, sthira means to have that thought in a steady manner. We need to employ vicharana. So we have to do inquiry. I think the translation is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yes.
Sairam, I just thought about myself. The God is the manufacturer of human beings. God certainly knows that he needs to produce only the good products. And why he has even meet the human beings, with the defect side or not good side. God certainly know that, he needs to produce only the good products. I mean that good human beings. For a purpose, he has produced both good and the bad, and he wanted to trouble the people in the world with the bad things. That's the motive of God, to produce both and to see how we behave, and he wanted to have a little bit of fun with people, how we react in this world.
Okay. Sister Anandi is asking, why, I think the motive of God, I think she feels God should have known that he should only produce good stuff.
Unless you see the bad, you don't know the good. So that's what I think, that's the reason I believe. So he created the good and bad. So whenever you only good, you don't see that is what is good it is. But like whenever bad and good there, you know what is good, what is bad. When you have to choose it, not to follow the bad and follow the good. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. Yes, brother Tasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. So when we born, we all born according to the karma. It's all depend on your merit and the demerit. So someone may be rich, someone may be educated, someone may be physically not good. It's all depend on your karma, whatever you have done on your past life. So, but so even though the people born defective or anything, we have to respect them because the God is in them. So we have to cannot differentiate they are bad or lower or up. Everyone you have to see them as a equal. That's what if you are walking on a barefoot on the road, if your feet touch something, dirt or anything, you'll differentiate. But when you think your shadow doesn't differentiate anything, same way when you try to behave according to your shadow without differentiate, without the duality, then you'll understand then you'll understand the divinity. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else? No, we really don't know what God did, but I will ask.
Brother, my understanding is we have to see everything happens for a good reason. Even for us to see as like it's not benefiting, if you see that is happening for a good reason, then that is, we have to discriminate and understand why this is happening and take it positively. And as Sister Shivani said, we have to learn from it and move. That's how I will look at it. And when you look at it on a positive side, again, you will see the higher feeling and you can relate to the law. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, but sister, why is God doing all this?
The
Could have done a little
We are
better.
seeing as a good and bad, right? But take it everything as for a good reason, good thing.
So you want to take the bad also for good reason?
Brother, when it hurts, even you have the hurt feeling, you can see the good. There is a song came, right? Nandalala. So when it's hurt, even you can see it. That's what Swami is trying to say, kind of. That's how I look at it. Thank you.
Sairam, the reason I asked, just a couple of minutes ago, Brother Sai Sadish beautifully explained that the God is the director, we all are the actors. Some may get the positive roles, some may get the negative roles. But at the end of the play, we all go back to the stage and take the original form. If that is the case, then there shouldn't be any karmic balance theory at all, because God has created to do the positive roles and the negative roles. We acted accordingly and the both roles, and then how come one get the positive karmic balance and the other one will get the negative karmic balance. There is some sort of imbalance, in the God creation, or maybe the God thinking, while he produced the human being, and live in the world to play in. And maybe according to the Ahamiya, Sanjita and Prarabdha karmic theory, it goes on. Once we started the role, then it goes to the next life. To get rid of that one, it's really, really difficult. So maybe God would have done something else rather than this one. That is my humble opinion, Maybe God will hear my request.
Okay.
Saira Maruno,
Yes.
I agree with Anandi, because if everything is God and it is originating from Him, then what is this karmic balance and all these karmas that we learn? So we need some answer on this because it's very confusing. Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay, sis. Auntie. Yes, Kalyani.
Maybe one way to look at it is that this is just a very long play, and that all the karmic balance still belongs to the role. But so even you may go through many births in the play, but at the end of the play, you're still God and you're still unaffected, no matter which role you played.
Thank you, Kalyani. Thank you. See that just to, I think if one is speaking, the reality is this world goes on because of action. When we say karma, that actually basically means action. Every action, the way the world is designed, actions are the ones which keep on make the world go on and on and on. So the karma means basically actions will take place in this world. And every action will have a consequence, a reaction. It is a chain reaction. Okay, so that is the way the world is created. So when that is created, everyone, even God may also have some karmic balance. In the sense, if they do something, if you say Krishna did something, then in the next birth he has to do something, Rama did something, in the next incarnation he has to do something about it. So the thing is, the karma never gets wasted. Every action in this world will have consequence. If we don't feel that way, we will not do any work. We do all the work because we think there will be something coming at the end of it. That is the way the world is designed. The problem is, I think the problem we all have is when somebody is born or put in a certain circumstance, we think that person is having it good, this person is having it bad. If someone can't see, then we'll say, oh, he's really unlucky. I have eyesight, that person doesn't have. Yes, I think the way God will look at it, that person is different, this person is different. The reality is, even though all of us may look similar, all of us are unique in our own way, our own thinking, our own experience, everything will be different. So that is the variety in this world. That maybe, you get chosen to do that because of how you acted in the previous scene or a previous drama. As Kalyani said, it's a long drama. The drama goes on until the world, comes to an end, which may never happen, or which will never happen. So the thing is, I think that's all the karma. So we should not think karma means punishment, reward. No, karma is just karma. It is objective. For example, when we are drinking or eating something, so many bacteria are dying. They must be thinking, why is God making this happen? There must be some tsunami in our own stomach. We eat something, and many organisms are dying. And I'm sure they are praying in their own way to God, why is this happening? Why is there so much bad things? This fellow one person wants to live, and they kill him. This is the reality. I may be walking along the street or driving the car. So many insects must be killed. Mosquitoes, we beat them and, throw them away. God will say, this fellow should be punished. That's what every mosquito which will say. So the reality is, karma is the one which makes this world go on and on. So karma balance will always be there. But I think what Swami is telling us is, don't attach yourself to the karma. I want this karma, this fruit. That means it's desire. So don't have any expectations. Just take it as it comes. Okay. I think that's the first thing. So I think we should separate karma. So the thing is, it's we think, oh, this should happen to me. And then the next thing is, why is God's creation, everything is different? Why can't he make everything good? In Mumbai, Swami, there's one discourse. There were scientists, So one scientist put up his hand and said, Swami, you are saying God, you are. When you created, if only the entire ocean was, gas, it is petroleum, we will not be having to struggle. Everyone will have enough electricity, enough. Swami said, yes, I could have done it. But then some of you are so stupid, you will go to that ocean beach and you want to smoke. And what will happen? The entire ocean gets fired, then what will I do? That's what Swami has. So the thing is, God has some design, some purpose for creation. See, the thing is, I think he wants us to deal with good and bad, not hating the bad. See, for example, if you get a banana, if you say, oh, the skin is also good, and if I eat, I will have to pay face the consequences of that. The thing is, an intelligent person knows what he should eat, what he should not eat. Not because you hate the peel, but the thing is, if I eat the peel and then say, God, why did you do that? He will say, you should have used common sense. So the thing is, the good and bad should be dealt like the way we deal with the peel of a banana. I am here to eat the banana. You put the peel in the compost bin. Okay, we are not hurting compost bin. It's not that the peel is going to feel, oh, you are thinking I'm bad. No, you are meant for some process. So the thing is, I think that's why Swami said for Upasana, always use higher ones, because that is the process. Just the way when you eat something nutritious. Don't say everything God has created, I will eat anything. Then when you fall sick, you will run to the doctor. The doctor will say you have indiscriminately eaten. But the thing is, so Swami, that's all Swami is telling. So don't think, don't have a hatred that this is just bad. Know that, discriminate and use what is conducive for your purpose. I think that's the way we should live in this world. Rather than, hating and that cannot be divine, how can this happen in, Swami's organization, why somebody is like this, all these questions will come to us, why is God created such people and put them also with us? We are unable to do sadhana. Swami will say, just do defensive driving, even in spirituality. I think that's what I understand. So I think it is our emotion which we should watch out when we witness some which we think is bad, which is not conducive for us.
That's what Swami is saying. Jivi has got his own drishti. Jiva drishti and Bhagavad drishti, same. He says that.
I think there will be enough. I think the next few paragraphs, I think we will discuss. Swami is covering this very exhaustively.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by the time the next 2-3 weeks, all our doubts about this, most of our doubts at least, go away.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
and
Auntie.
one more.
Oh, Auntie, just wait. Let Mani Auntie finish, and then you can.
Okay, no problem.
No, what Swami is trying to tell is, even though all this originated from me, they all exist in me, no doubt, but I am not dependent on them. I am asanga. I am unattached. I am not at all attached to any of these things. That point we have to remember. And it is only because of the Jiva Drishti. The dual experience is only because of we are Jivis. We see good and bad, whereas God sees everything as same. Sai Ram.
Thank
Yes.
you, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Sai Satish, okay.
Before Auntie asks another question, I just wanted to add to what you were saying. So I thought I'll just come in,
Okay.
if it's fine. Yeah. So I was just going to say, like, in that thing of the drama, the director giving role and somebody getting robber role, somebody getting priest, somebody getting king role. Always the priest and robber maybe are thinking, I want to get king role, I want to get king role. So they are, most of their time and energy is gone in wanting to get the king's role rather than getting out of the drama. That is one problem. The second problem is, I am now so attached to playing the king role that I don't want to, next time also I only want to be the king. I don't want to give it to anybody else. So either we get attached to our role so much that we do not want to detach and give it to somebody else, or we are going on looking at somebody else's role. Oh, that person is getting this, I am not getting that person. So most of the time the drama is played looking at the other person's role rather than what I should do for my role, so that I get out of the drama. So if that part, if we are focused on Swami gave me this role, I will do it 100% and I will move on to whatever role he gives me next, or if he pulls me out of the drama. If that focus is there, then life becomes easy in terms of its acceptance and in terms of going forward. So just wanted to add to that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, Santi Saku, you will have.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a question. You know, when we go to Mahabharata and Ramayana, in the Mahabharata, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they were big balakas, and they got cursed by the rishi, and that's why they were born like Asuras. So here, Narayana didn't have any say in it because they have already got cursed. So here, God, it all originated from God, but Narayana didn't do anything at the time of the curse. He came down as Krishna and he played his part. So can you explain this drama of the avatar? Because as Narayana, he didn't do anything, but he came as our Krishna to make the adharma to be taken care. So can you please explain, someone, please? Thank you.
Sakkuji, the first the first correction is, you know, those two Dwarapalakas were not cursed by Narayana. They were cursed by...
No, not by Narayana, Rishi.
No, yeah, the rishis. Yeah, that is what.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brahma Manasaputras.
Yeah.
Brahma Manasaputras, yeah.
Yeah, so
Sanaka.
Jaya and Vijaya are the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu. And when Sanaka, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Sujata, these four Brahma Manasa Putras come to have Lord Vishnu's darshan, and both the Dwarapalakas, Vijaya and Vijaya, obstruct, they get angry and they curse. And when that curse comes, of course, immediately Lord Vishnu, the door opens, the Vaikuntham opens, and the Lord is there. And that time they plead to Lord, saying, we were doing your duty. And so the Lord gives them the opportunity of either taking 3 birds as his enemies or as 7 birds as his devotees. And that is where Jaya and Vijaya say, for 7 birds we cannot be away from you, Lord. So we do not mind taking 3 birds as your enemies. And that is how they are born as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha in the first birth, Ravana and Kumbhakarna in second birth, and Sishupala and Dantavakra in their third birth. And each of the things we have Lord Vishnu take the avatar and then annihilate them, and of course they come back to him. So that is in nutshell the whole story. Sarah.
Thank you, Sai Sadis. It's so good. Thank you.
Sorry, anyone else has anything to say? If not, I will just comment.
Brother, one more thing, brother. Instead of one thing I catch on this after discussion is what we see is not the one we are discussing. Here, what we feel. So that all come within. So to see the higher feeling and all, that's how you in your what you see outside and discriminate. That's not the one we Swami is talking about. Here, the feelings. How you relate. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you, sister. I think this God has no duality. I think sometimes, like Swami has given this example. For example, we take clay and make a pot, or some other vessel. For the clay, it doesn't really matter whether it's a pot or cup or whatever you make. The clay is clay, but the pot is pot and the cup is cup. And so creation is what we see as pot or cup. For example, you take some metal and you can make a dagger out of it or a cooking knife. So different things are used for different purposes, but the metal is the same. So that's the way I think this world is. I think that's what Swami does not want us to forget, that that underlying thing should not be forgotten, that God is present everywhere, even when we see the different gunas.
Yeah, you can take the example of ocean also, ocean waves and bubbles and then froth and everything, but only water. Water is the matter. That's how.
I think we will move on if it's okay, because Swami is dwelling on this topic rather exhaustively, just the way he covered the Varnashrama Dharma. You all won't want to stop it, Swami will continue.
4 weeks.
Now, ordinary folk may get some doubts on this point. The Lord says that all things, both good and bad, originated from him, and that he is the prime cause. But at the same time, he declares that he is neither bound nor affected by the effects or defects of all that has thus originated. He says he has no relationship with them, and that he is above and beyond that for which he is the cause. You might infer that man too is not in the least responsible for the good and the evil that is done through him by the divine, that his real nature is beyond both good and evil, that his acts, however evil, were basically prompted by the Lord himself. For man has nothing he can claim as his act. True. But faith in this attitude that nothing is done by you, that it is all the Lord's will that is being worked through you, must be steady, sincere, deep, and unshaken. There should be no trace of ego. If that is so, then certainly such a one has attained the highest goal of life. He is blessed to the uttermost. That reality has to be known. That knowledge has to be established. Indeed, he who has the conviction that all this is God, that he has no sort of relationship or kinship with the objective world, that he is above and beyond it, is the Satya Jivi, the individual whose sojourn here has been worthwhile.
Okay, thank you very much, sister.
Wow.
More confusing now. More confusing.
So I think it'll be nice to understand what because if everything is God, everything is good, then I think that same thing we say, we also like that. But Swami, I think the most important sentence which I think we should discuss is true, but faith in this attitude that nothing is done by you, that it is all the Lord's will that's being worked through you, must be steady, sincere, deep, and unshaken. And I think that is fundamentally the I think sentence which we should really fully understand, then Swami says there should be no trace of ego. Sometimes there's a tendency, sometimes we may say, we have done so said this only because Swami prompted us to do. Okay. But then when somebody else does, then we forget that there also Swami may have prompted. For example, if you do something, there's a nice story which Swami tells. Apparently, one guru taught in the class, everything is Brahman. You are Brahman. Never forget that, all that. So one of the disciples took it very seriously, and he was supposed to go to the market. So when he was going to the market, he saw some elephant which was suddenly turned mad, was rushing. And he said, that is also Brahman, I am also Brahman. And he was going. And there was a Mahout sitting on top of the elephant, shouting, everyone move away, this elephant is dangerous, He said, no, the elephant is Brahman, I am Brahman. He was saying and going, and then the elephant grabbed him and threw him, or, stumped. And he got really badly bruised, and he came back to the ashram. He had to be brought back. Then the Guru asked, what happened to you? He said, you said, I am Brahman, everything is Brahman. I was Brahman and the elephant was Brahman. Why did that Brahman do this to me? Then the Guru said, were you listening to the Brahman which was sitting on top of the elephant? That Brahman was saying, move. So the thing is, Swami says, sometimes we have only partial understanding of what God says, and then we get foolishly interpreted. So I think the thing is, then if only he fell and he was broken, limbs broken, he should have accepted that also as God's will. But at that point in time, the Brahman, the elephant, forgot. So even being broken limbs also is Brahman. Having straight limbs is also Brahman. So everything is Brahman. So that's why Swami said that person, will accept everything. He has no relationship, kinship with the objective world, and he's above and beyond it. So I thought I'll just share the story. I will stop here. Any discussion? Anything?
Actually, this is a good lesson for us. When we see others are behaving so unethically and some way we don't approve of anything, we think, oh, that person is really not following Swami's teaching. But actually, Baba is prompting that person to do the way that person was doing. So the judgment should not be there. We have to accept everything is being done by God and go ahead, move ahead without having any bitterness. Is that what? I don't know.
No, I don't know. You have made your statement. There are people shaking their heads. So I will ask the brothers.
Yeah, it's okay.
They are not accepting you as your word says coming from Brahman.
Yes, brother. So if we take like this, suppose good and bad.
Yes.
Some people they think both because of the God Brahman. He's the one doing good and bad. But only then they don't take the responsibility. They do the bad thing and they'll say, okay, God did it. That's what we studied. But only time you can accept that one when your words, thoughts, deeds are aligned properly. And you have to think always you are in God's hand. You are the instrument. And you are doing God's will and God's sankalpa, you are doing all the things. If we have that mentality only, then we can accept that good and bad all done by the God. Others, they cannot expect that one. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Anyone else who has something to say?
Swami always says we have to use our discrimination. So yes, Brahman, we have to understand, but at the same time, we have to use our discrimination. Thank you, Saira.
Yes, brother Sai Satish.
Yes, Rana. So I was just saying that we keep vacillating between Brahma and Brahma. So, so that is the problem. So, like when we claim we know like everything and everything is God, Swami really wants to see, okay, have they gone from like have I gone from primary school to secondary school or higher university? So Swami will just put a test there, and immediately that whole thing will shake it up and then get the Brahma out and get caught in it. So at that time also, if we hold on to Swami and stay in that kind of a thing and go with, means at the end of the day, it is ultimately how firmly we are established in what we are really saying. Is it at the level of the lips, or is it at the level of the Atman, really at the heart level? Are we just thinking about it, or are we feeling it with our innermost being? Because any of that situation will really bring it out, whether it is some mental gymnastics, or is it really our core being that is responding to it? That is one thing. And I just wanted to request Auntie to read that line and in Telugu exactly like what Swami has said in Telugu also, if it is, yeah.
With the last paragraph, you mean?
That one line Anna was saying, Auntie, where that you must be steady, sincere, deep, and unshaken. That
మానవుడు ఏమాత్రము కర్త కాని కారణము కాని కాదనియు ఎట్టి మంచి చెడ్డలనియు భగవంతుని ప్రేరణ వలనేననియు మానవుడు ఎట్టి పాప పుణ్యములకు బాధ్యుడు కాడనియు తలంచవచ్చును. నిజమే. అయితే ఇట్టి విశ్వాసము నిశ్చలమైన, నిర్మలమైన, నిస్వార్థమైన ప్రేమ పరమాత్మనిపై కలిగి ఉండిన ఇంతకంటే ధన్యము పుణ్యము మరేమున్నది? తెలుసుకొనవలసినది, స్థిరము చేసుకొనవలసినదే ఇది. సర్వము భగవంతుడే. నాకే మాత్రము ఈ లోకముతో కానీ భావముతో కానీ సంబంధము లేదని, నేను వీటినంటికి అతీతమైన వాడని ఏ మానవుడు తెలుసుకొనునో వాడే సత్యజీవి. I think, have I read the proper thing, Sai Satish?
Yes.
Yes, Auntie. Yeah, beautiful, Auntie. Because thanks for that. I was just seeing, because Swami also mentions the prema part. So I was just seeing whether in the translation that was captured.
Yeah. నిశ్చలమైన, నిర్మలమైన, నిస్వార్థమైన ప్రేమ పరమాత్మునిపై కలిగి ఉండిన ఇంతకంటే ధన్యము పుణ్యము వేరే లేదు.
Okay. Yeah, because here they have said must be steady, sincere, deep, and unshaken. Yeah, but I think here their Swami is saying is that unsullied, pure love on the Lord will. Listen. Thank you.
Well, can you translate sentence by sentence?
Which one, beta?
Auntie, why don't we read from the first, because I don't, otherwise they may get a bit confused if it's okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we go from there?
Each line you can translate. ఈ విషయమున సామాన్య మానవులకు కొంత సందేహమునకు స్థానము కలుగవచ్చును.
So that's the first sentence. The translation is okay. Ordinary people will get some doubt. There's a chance for them to get doubt. Okay.
Yeah. సమస్త మంచి చెడ్డలకు తానే కారణమనియు, సర్వము తన నుండే పుట్టినవనియు, అట్లుండియు వాటి దోషములు తననే మాత్రం బంధించుట కాని బాధించుట కాని చేయవనియు, వాటితో తనకేమీ సంబంధం లేదనియు, అన్నిటికీ అతీతమైన ఉన్నాననియు తెలుపుటలో మానవుడు చేయు మంచి చెడ్డలు. మానవుడు it's a big sentence. It's a very huge sentence. I think you should.
I think because see, Lord says that all things are good. That's not the way Swami is telling. Swami is telling everything, it's as if God, the man is identifying with God. That's the way Swami has written it. He said all good things, originated from good and bad originate from me. I am the primal cause. As if, the man has identified with God, and Swami is going on and on.
Oh, sorry.
Translation, but at the same time, we are not bound by it. We are not affected by it. See, God is not neither bound nor affected by anything which happens. I think that's the most important things. And you are above everything, Atita. Swami says. So I think the first paragraph, actually, it's still continuing in Telugu. There's one line which continues from this paragraph to the other paragraph.
Arun, this particular portion, ఎట్టి మంచి చెడ్డలైనను భగవంతుని ప్రేరణ వలననే అనియో మానవుడు ఎట్టి పాప పుణ్యములకు బాధ్యుడు కాదనియో తలంచవచ్చును. We may think that we are not responsible for all the bad things that we are doing. నిజమే.
Originated from God.
నిజమే. అయితే ఇట్టి విశ్వాసము, నిశ్చలమైన, నిర్మలమైన, నిస్వార్థమైన ప్రేమ పరమాత్మనిపై కలిగి ఉండిన ఇంతకంటే ధన్యము పుణ్యము మరేమున్నది.
So I don't think the translation has done justice to it. So Swami is saying, Aina means, if that is so,
మానవుడు ఎట్టి పాప పుణ్యములకు బాధ్యుడు. He is not responsible for all the good and bad. We think like that, we do bad things, good things, and then said we can easily say that we are not responsible. God willed us through us. We did it according to His will.
So we may think so, that's talanchavachu. Okay. Nijame, it's true, but aite the
vishwasamu,
this faith, this conviction, I think is a better word.
Nischalamaina,
without any, it's steady or firm, unshaken.
Firm.
Unshaken.
Nirmalamaina, pure,
without any malas, blemishes.
Niswarthamaina, selfless. Prema, that love we have got for God, Paramatmanipai.
So we have to have a type with the God. Our love towards God should be Nischalam, Nirmalam, and Niswartham. It should be selfless, firm, okay, and pure. If that such a love is there on God, then there's nothing more holier than that, Intakante dhanyamu, punyamu, meritorious, but there's nothing else. Swami is asking a rhetorical question. What else is there, if you have that kind of love?
తెలిసికొనవలసినది, స్థిరము చేసుకోవలసినది. Whatever you have learned, make it, let it be firm,
established.
సర్వము భగవంతుడే.
Everything is God.
నాకే మాత్రము ఈ లోకముతో కానీ భావముతో కానీ సంబంధము లేదు.
We don't have anything, no relationship
with all the things whatever is happening. నేను వీటినంటికి అతీతమైన వాడు అని ఏ మానవుడు, the man who thinks like this, తెలుసుకొనునో వాడే సత్యజీవి.
So one who thinks they are beyond, above and beyond it, such a person is Satyajivi.
Anna, that Nischala, Nirmala, Niswarthamaina Prema, I think that example is like the Gopikas. I think that is where the
Swami,
epitome of that, is
love for God, Swami is talking about. I don't think that's translated here.
Have they not translated it here?
See,
the object word, no.
Love itself is not there, or prema, nothing. Auntie, there's one more next line also. I think we should.
అయితే మాటల్లో మాత్రము సర్వము భగవంతుడే, నేను అతని చేతిలో కిలుబొమ్మ, అతని అధీనంలో ఉన్నవాడును, నాదేమీ లేదు అని చిలుక పలుకులు పలుకుచు మంచిదాన్ని మాత్రము నేను చేసిందనియో చెడ్డ మాత్రం భగవత్ ప్రేరణనియో కీర్తి మర్యాదల గౌరవ వచ్చు అసలు.
In English, it's next paragraph, Auntie. So I will just leave with that. Yeah.
Sorry, Uncle.
All that is good, claim it to be mine. I did all the good things. Only bad things, leave it to God. God made me do that. That is the attitude we have. Whenever we do good things, we take the credit. And bad things are given to God. Oh, God made me do that.
When you were saying in the first paragraph on this slide that where it says the Lord says all this, is that you were saying there was something wrong with that? It's not that the Lord says?
No,
See,
this is all the human being's mind which is working like that. Isn't
yes,
it?
Yes, Auntie. The
Yeah.
human being is thinking. సమస్త మంచి చెడ్డలకు తానే కారణమనియు సర్వము తన నుండే పుట్టిన అట్లాంటియు
వాటి దోషములను తననే మాత్రము బంధించుట కానీ బాధించుట కానీ చేయవనియు
వాటితో తనకేమి సంబంధము లేదనియు.
These are the whole sentence, the whole paragraph is thinking of a human mind. Isn't it?
Yes, yes. So some person is thinking God is the one who is doing, he's beyond. Thinking like that, they do whatever they want, you know. So Swami doesn't say, the Lord says. The person thinks that is the way the Lord is thinking. So, you know, I am also not responsible. Okay, it is not, Swami is not saying God said that. The Krishna said that, Swami is not saying.
Okay.
It's a human being who thinks all this.
So the human is thinking that God, all these things about God.
Yes. And then because of that, because now that God is in me, he is only prompting me to do.
Okay.
Now I have identified with God, so I don't have to worry about whatever I did. Yes, Brother Thasan, you have something.
Yeah, so Sairam brother, if we take A and B, the both has to go to work in time. So they have a special meeting that particular day. A woke up time and he couldn't go to the work in time because some problem in the car or bus. Then he thought maybe the God doesn't want to go in time today. The B woke up late and he's lazy and he cannot put the blame to the God that he didn't take any interest to wake up early or anything. So he cannot put the blame. The first person, the A, can put he can say God's will.
God didn't let him wake up early. What can he do?
But he has to put the alarm. Yeah, he didn't take any interest. So we can put it that way. Yes, but if he didn't take any steps, then he cannot blame the God.
God didn't put the thought in him to have set the alarm.
Oh my God, I don't know. You're confused.
No, but yes, but in practical world, brother, we always take interest. Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Interesting class.
No, our logics, see, this is the thing is, there are two ways to think. Take responsibility and do what we can, and then let the Lord do whatever he has to do. But, you know, it's conveniently, you know, shirking responsibility. I think that's what Brother Thasan was trying to say. And if we feel that when we go and we get pulled up at work, we should think that is also God's will. But there we will not. And maybe when we get fired from our job, then we will not say it is God's will. Then we will blame somebody for doing that. I think that is human nature.
Sai Ram, I don't know.
Yes.
Surrendering to God and doing everything, will it save us from all this calamity?
It's not an insurance policy, Auntie.
But Anna, Swami would say that every time, that he would point to himself, like when he's saying also, Anta na manchi kosame, everything is for my good, everything is for my good. So going with that belief may not change the things around us, but it will change the attitude with which we accept the things around us as they happen. So things will continue. We will still get fired. We will still get maybe pulled up by the senior thing or maybe something else. But the attitude which that, yes, this is also Swami's prasadam, that attitude is with us. While getting pulled up, getting fired is not in our hand. But the attitude of acceptance that that is Swami's prasadam, that is in our hand, which we can pray to Swami to give. And if we are at it, then what Swami says, everything is for my good, will continue to play out.
Yes, but I think that's why he said Nischalamaina, Nirmalamaina, Niswartha Prema. Bhagavat Prema. Love for
I
God.
think that translation is there: sincere, steady, sincere, deep, and unshaken.
But it's not talking about the love, auntie. Prema.
Prema he is not talked. Yeah.
So that is the key word.
Keyword. Yeah.
Yeah, the key word is missing.
The rest of the things are there.
The rest. See, the important point is missed means everything is missed.
Nischalam, Niswartham, everything is there.
Yes, but the love for God is not there.
Not there.
So that sentence, so it's saying that, okay, that everything good and evil is done through the divine, and that his real nature is beyond good and evil, and his acts, however evil, were basically prompted by the Lord himself. And then it says that's true. The next line says true. So all of that up until there is true. Is that right? That even, and then so then the next part is saying, but faith in the Nischala Nirmala Niswartha Prema for God, is that what that line is saying?
Yes.
Faith in that love?
Even though that is true, a person who has that view with the love for God, which is Nischala Nirmala Niswartha, then such a person, there's nothing, nothing more meritorious, nothing more holy. See, that is the ultimate surrender,
Yeah, that is what I was saying. Yeah.
Yes, but the thing is, God is not saying things will be smoother. That was the question you asked, auntie.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's not insurance policy. Because how will God know that yours is steady unless he shakes it and checks?
So is that sentence saying that you have to have faith? What is it? You have to have viswasam?
No. Swami has not used the word faith. He has used the word love.
Oh, but also viswasam was there, right?
Vishwasam. He has used the word Vishwasam.
Vishwasam, okay. Again, I think you can read auntie once.
Yeah. From there, I know.
Nijame aite itti vishwasamu
Nischalamaina, Nirmalamaina, Niswarthamaina Prema. పరమాత్మనిపై కలిగి ఉండిన ఇంతకంటే ధన్యము పుణ్యము మరేమున్నది తెలిసి కొనవలసినది స్థిరము చేసుకొనవలసినదే ఇది సర్వము భగవంతుడే నాకేమాత్రము ఈ లోకముతో గాని భావముతో గాని సంబంధము లేదు అని నేను వీటినంటికి అతీతమైన వాడని ఏ మానవుడు తెలుసుకొనునో వాడే సత్యజీవి. One doubt arises here. See, a man has got faith, niswartham, nischalamaina prema, bhagavantinipai, but he keeps on doing a wrong thing. How can he say that I am above all those things?
Such a person will not do anything wrong, is my understanding. Because whatever that person does will turn out to be good also.
Good also.
So is vishwasam like another adjective in addition to nischala and everything? Or?
No, I think it's another quality. Okay. So Swami says this is faith, this is the belief. Along with it, you need to have those three adjective prema with those three adjectives.
And there's nothing more meritorious than that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to have that Vishwasam. God is the doer and all that. But we should love that God also who is doing it with unshaken, unblemished, unselfish love. See, most of the things I think we say good or bad only because of something related to us going wrong.
It is our mental attitude which makes us think that this is bad, this is good. Our minds are not pure. That's the one reason.
Yeah. Auntie, I was just going to say that, like Swami would say, Sarva Karma Bhagavat Prityartham. So doing every activity as an offering and as basically for the love of God would summarize that part of the thing. And when it is told Vishwasam, it is said that if we operate with that conviction that we are doing it for that Nirmalam, Niswartham, all of that thing, then with that pure divine love for God in mind, if we do that, then I think everything gets established of literally like how I think when like the water on the lotus leaf kind of a scenario. We are in the world, but we are not of the world, or we don't get affected by the world. I don't.
Thank you, sir.
So that person is a Satya Jivi. Is that would that be like a Jivan Mukta as well? Like, is it the same thing? Like, as someone who's enlightened?
I think Swami says that person, I don't know whether it's enlightened, I think possibly, but I think is living a true life, I think is what I understand. I think that is the principle of Satyam, We all talk about human values, truth. I think Swami is equating that with that, living in truth. So that's my understanding, but I will ask others to share their thought. Is he a Jivan? Yes.
Yeah, like you had said earlier, like Satya and Mithya kind of a thing. So like the Satya Jivi stays in that permanent thing, whereas the Mithya Jivi is lost in the ephemeral kind of thing. So being established in the truth.
Yes, thank you. Kalyani, because why I didn't say that person is Jivan Mukta, because Swami didn't say that. But I think, ultimately Jivan Mukta maybe is the final result of a person, but that person is on the path to reach that place is the way I understand. Because he has used the word GV. GV means the person still identifies themselves as a Jivatma, separate from the Paramatma. Whereas Jivan Mukta is one who is fully identified with the Lord. So I think it's a step towards that direction. That is the reason I said, but I could be wrong.
Does it also say in Telugu that this is this highest goal of life? In the English, it says, such a one has attained the highest goal of life.
Highest goal of life. సర్వము భగవంతుడే, నాకే మాత్రము ఈ లోకముతో కానీ భావముతో కానీ సంబంధము లేదని నేను వీటన్నింటికే అతీతమైన వాడు. వీటన్నింటికి అతీతమైన వాడు.
Auntie, that ahankaram is there in English. Place of ego. I think that swartha maybe.
Niswartha comes there. That is ego less.
Sarvam Bhagavat Nenu
వీటినింటికి అతీతమైన వాడు. వీటన్నిటికి కరెక్ట్. వీటన్నింటికి అతీతమైన వాడు. I'm above all these. వీటినింటికి means above all these. తెలుసుకొనును వాడే సత్యజీవి.
So it's before that paragraph, before that line, Auntie, what does it say? Prema Smartya
Ah,
Punyamu Marayaminnadi.
అది సరి.
Then Telesikona.
తెలుసుకోనవలసినది స్థిరము చేసుకోవలసినదే ఇదే.
Yeah, that's what you have to make, firm.
Established and firm in
And
conviction.
All is God. Next one, no?
సర్వము భగవంతుడే.
Yeah, so Kalyani, there's nothing equivalent in Telugu with
Okay.
that attain the highest call is not there. But I think Punya, there's nothing else greater meritorious thing.
ధన్యము పుణ్యము, that there it comes.
I think that's what is being translated as that.
What is Danyamu? What does that mean?
Blessed, you are blessed.
Oh, blessed.
The highest thing we are blessed. Yeah.
Oh.
There's no higher blessing than that. That kind of a meaning. So I think that that seems to have been translated.
Yeah. Highest goal of life, yes. So it is our karma vasana. It's our vasanas which are making us to do these bad things. Bad things exist in this world, but who is making it? We are doing it, and it is our vasanas, karma vasanas, that's responsible for us doing these things.
Yeah, I think that's why Swami has already covered the gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas.
Tamasic gunas.
And yes, Brother Thasan, you had raised your hand.
Yeah, so Sairam, Sathya Jivi, the person who, whatever the Krishna said, whatever the action he's doing, he doesn't cling to the action. So if we don't have any desire or attachment with the love when you do the action, or if you are not willing to take any fruit of the action, and if you think that, again, I'm telling you, if you are an instrument of the God, that person is called Satya Jivi. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Who is unattached? Who is unattached to things what he does? And the unattached, asanga, that person is the Satya Jivi.
I just want to be clear that this translation is also true to the Telugu. So it says that, I know because it's not exactly the same. So true, but faith in this attitude that nothing is done by you, that it is all the Lord's will that is being worked through you. So you have to have that attitude.
Yeah, that attitude. Yes, I think that's there.
And then you have to have love, that love for God.
Yes. I think your question is, it's all Lord's will, no? That's what. So that I think that Swami is. Karma kani, karanamu kani, kadaniyu.
Karta kani, karanamu kani.
So for that, there's a key word is used as faith. When we have the faith, then we believe that everything happens with the God's will. The faith is the key. Thank you.
Auntie, I think what Kalyani is asking is, which area is, where does samasta manchi cheddalu thane karanamaniyu sarvamu tanunde puttinananiyu.
సర్వము తన నుండే పుట్టినవనియు అట్లుండియు వాటి దోషములు తనని ఏమాత్రము బంధించుట కాని బాధించుట కాని చేయవనియు వాటితో తనకేమి సంబంధము లేదనియు అన్నింటికి అతీతమై ఉన్నాననియు తెలుపుట్లో మానవుడు చెయ్యు మంచి చెడ్డలకు మానవుడు ఏమాత్రము కర్త కాని కారణము కాని కాదు.
So Kalyani, it is not exactly, you are right. I think that the Telugu seems to be, but the faith in the attitude that nothing is done by you, it's Lord's will. I think they've tried to explain it in English, but not necessarily. But I think it is not. It's reasonably accurate in terms of the senses that I see, because God is the one who is the prompter of everything, and through Him only everything happens. I am not bound or affected by that. I am above that. That's what the Telugu says. But I think in English, there's a bit more explanation.
But it makes sense.
See, nothing is done through
Yeah, nothing will done without the faith. So you have to have the faith, then you will believe that everything is happening with the God's will, and you will take it. So that also give you the steady and sincere thing, and will remove the ego. The faith is the key, kind of.
But at the same time, that doesn't give license to us to commit bad things always. Saying that God is making us do things that we cannot do. We cannot afford to do that.
But is that the recipe to cultivate that unsullied, pure, unselfish love? Because Swami says that is the real this thing. So what is the recipe to cultivate that such love?
Very good questions, Sai Satish. How do we cultivate that attitude? I think we have to start somewhere. So I think we will start telling that it's because of the Lord that I am saying this. Then the repercussions come. That is when we will know for ourselves whether our attitude is proper or not. God will just make us realize where we are in this journey of learning that attitude, cultivating. So I think we have to start somewhere. I think everyone tries it. As long as we keep it steady and accept what happens, I think then we are on the path somewhere. That's the way I feel. But I will ask others also to share their thoughts.
So easy to practice, brother. Whatever we are learning here, we have to have the faith. When we practice this one, whatever we learn, whatever we discuss, whatever is a study circle. It's not, we are not reading. It's a study circle. Everyone's put their input. And finally, we get the knowledge and we have the faith. When we put in the practice, definitely we can move. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Sai Ram, so in practical sense, what we are reading here is everything is Lord, good, bad. So if anything happens, for example, if somebody you feel, I don't know what's the other person's intention, if you feel the person has insulted you, rather than reacting, just take it and see how you can, first of all, I'm just talking about how you can distance yourself from the situation if it's disturbing and become much stronger. So the next time when it happens, it doesn't affect you to the level. You just see it, you don't get affected, because you will see, you know what? It is Bhagawan who has put everything is God in everybody, and I'm much stronger. It should not disturb you. So you reach to the point, as Bhagawan is saying, you attain the highest goal of life. I'm thinking how you think that you have attained that, where you are not affected whatever happens around you, or if other people or situation you used to feel before is disturbing you, but it doesn't disturb you anymore. Can I say that? I don't know. Because I want to reach to that highest goal of life where nothing affects me.
Actually, when we get insulted or abused by others, it's our ego which is being instead. It is our ego which comes there. So slowly and steadily, if we are able to erase that ego sense, then I think we are progressing in the path, in the spiritual path. That's what I feel. So,
thank you, Auntie.
Sorry, can I just ask one other word? Just in this first sentence, you might infer that man too is not in the least responsible for the good and evil, etc. And then a few sentences later, it says, for man has nothing he can claim as his act. In both those cases, is it the word manava that Swami is using, or?
Yeah. మంచి చెడ్డలకు మానవుడు ఏ మాత్రము కర్త కాని కారణము కాని. He is not the doer, he is not the cause for it.
Okay.
Manavudu, Swami has used the word Manavudu. One thing we have to keep it in our mind when we are reading this paragraph. It is not Bhagawan who is saying all this thing. It is human mind, human being who thinks in this way. That if we can keep it that particular point in our mind.
But then Swami is saying true, right, Auntie? At the end, he's saying Nija mind.
Yeah, he is true. All these things, at last, it is so true, we think like that. So Swami is saying, yes, it is true, Nijame, he says.
Yes, he's saying, I think the logic is okay, but Swami wants us to have that deep conviction and fully subscribe to it with total love for the Lord.
Yeah.
If those two are missing, then it is just a mental exercise.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we take very great truth and talk about it, but it is not fully digested and it is not internalized and it becomes part of us. I think that's what Swami is saying. It is true, but you need to have these two additional qualities for it to be true. So what is the two additional? Swami is saying Vishwasam and also this love, which is Nischala, Nirmala, Niswartha. Then it is true. I think that's the way Swami is saying.
Yeah.
On the condition that these exist, if they exist, then it is true. If not, it is not. I think that's the sense, the sentence.
Swami is able to understand human mind. You people think like that. That's what he's saying. You people say that this is Lord's will and that's being worked through you and everything. It is true, but you have to have that Niswartha, Nischala, prema towards Bhagavan, towards Paramatma.
So just don't use your buddhi at all. Just go, right? Just don't use too much of your buddhi to analyze things.
You have been given discrimination. Use that discrimination.
Yes.
Definitely Swami says that. It is Viveka. Viveka is very important in life, wisdom.
I think the ultimate state of surrender, buddhi is useless. It doesn't need to come.
Leave it outside. Like Swami says, slippers. You leave the slippers outside and then enter the mandir. So also leave all buddhi, giddhi, everything outside.
And just to add what Auntie is saying, that I was reading, does the spirituality makes you impractical? But it doesn't. As Auntie is saying, it creates that spiritual discrimination in you, the power. Because spirituality creates or gives you that power of discriminating the right and the real and unreal, good and bad. So it doesn't make you impractical. It is very practical spirituality, or what Bhagawan is saying in Geetha Vahini, that everything we can practice is just, do we practice it or not? Sorry, Ram.
It's time now. 4:36.
It's 4:30. We went past.
Yeah, went past.
That was Swami's will. What can we do?
Swami's will. That's all. Okay.
Samasta loka. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu.
Om Shanti.
Shanti.
So much. It was really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siren.
Sai Ram, brother.